The Academy Award nominations are less than a month away, and as we inch closer and closer, I will be bringing my predictions to you right here on the YouTube channel. As I did last month, I'm here to present to you guys the Best Picture nominees and who I believe the 10 movies that are in, some of the films on the outside looking in, and maybe even some sleepers that I feel like might be able to sneak their way into that top 10. Before we dive in, if you could do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Hit the like. Also, share your thoughts. Who do you think are in the best picture race? Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think can sleepers slide into that top 10 as well? Folks, I'm very, very excited about the Oscars each and every year. I dive in and try to give my thoughts on the race as a whole. And of course, there is a lot of films that are in the conversation, but very few films I feel very, very confident in. It feels very top heavy, right? You probably have 5 or 6 films that are locked in, right? I feel like they're locked in because you expect these films to be peppered with nominations across the board, right? If you're talking 6, 7, 8 nominations, and then, of course, we have films that could potentially see 8, 9, 10, 11 nominations. You can almost certainly put those films into that Best Picture conversation and lock them in and throw away the key. That being said, that bottom half, there's so much jockeying for position. There's so many films that could be there, might not be there. Will the Academy love the film? Will the Academy not love the film? But one thing's for sure, I have a new predictive winner as of right now. But without further ado, we're going to dive into my top 10. It's about the same as it was last month, I do believe, with one film. No, it's the same as last month, but some movies jockeying for position. At number 10, I have The Color Purple. This film is played so late in the race that I don't feel like enough people saw it for these critics groups and all of these other films, it not getting the love that I believe it should get, and even the film should get across the board because it played that late. But with the Academy, we know it's a little bit different as nominations are coming in late January, with those ballots due the second week going into the third week of January itself. So all of the films have an opportunity to be seen, and they're playing these films across the board, across the country. So I do feel like The Color Purple will play better and get more nominations than what we see on some of these other um, award groups because of how late it played. Coming in at number 9, not moving at all, The Zone of Interest. This one, to me, is a film that if we're talking, it's going to slide into the best director race. We're talking best international film. We're talking director, maybe screenplay. Then we're talking best picture conversation. Like we're having to have that conversation with these films just because, all right, we're here, and here. We got to have those conversations. Those two films don't feel like they are locked into these roles, but I really feel like this is something that I feel strongly about. A Zone of Interest. I have it into that fifth slot or fourth slot for best director. So I really feel like with it being there, I'm confident sliding it into my number 9 spot. Dropping down quite a bit from my 4 slot down to my 8 slot is Maestro. No other reason than I feel like what we've seen with other critics groups, you base this award season on some of the information that were provided. Maestro is a film that is playing very well, getting nominations here, there, and everywhere. But I just don't feel like on the ranking of can it win Best Picture and can it not win Best Picture, I feel like it's on the lower half of that. Again, another film, pepper with nominees, but I don't feel as highly on it in that conversation of winning Best Picture. Coming in at number 7, a movie that goes up 2 slots, Past Lives, a film that has played very well for critics, which I was very much hoping for because it is a phenomenal film. But my opinion aside, it's playing well to everybody. And as we've seen with the Golden Globes, we saw with Critics' Choice, we saw with some of the other critics groups, Past Lives is playing well, which means we're going to see it get a Best Picture nomination, I do believe. Coming in number 6, The Holdovers. It's the perfect Oscar film if we were talking in the 1980s, maybe early 90s. I do feel like this film, I, I have it here because I feel confident that we're looking at probably what? Screenplay, supporting actress, actor is in the conversation. Is Giamatti? Giamatti's definitely in that 6 or 7 range if he's not in your 5. So The Holdovers definitely will play well with the Academy. I do think that it's definitely a shoe-in for Best Picture. I don't feel like it has a chance to win Best Picture for sure. So coming in at number 5, I have American Fiction, which is sliding up just a hair this month. A film that I do think that is going to continue to get some love because it's playing well, right? This is getting a lot of nominations. We're seeing Jeffrey Wright in the conversation. We're seeing Cord Jefferson's screenplay in the conversation. Could we see it sneak into any other categories? It remains to be seen, but I do feel more confident about this film as the day progresses because it's playing well across the board. Now we're talking the big four. These are the 4 films I really feel like, and I think everybody is in the conversation. These 4 films can win Best Picture. You have Poor Things at number 4, which is jumping up a few slots, jumping up 1 spot for me from 5 to 4. Poor Things coming in. Another film. We're talking nominations, production, score, costume, best actress, supporting actor, maybe 2 supporting actor, possibly, screenplay, director. You're talking 6, 7, 8. Again, we're counting the nominations. We're in the conversation for Best Picture. But when we're in that conversation for Best Picture, we have to remember Poor Things has a chance to win it all for sure. Killers of the Flower Moon down 1 slot from 2 to 3, which another film, again, we're peppering it across the board with nominations. The one thing I will say about this is when we're talking big picture wise, I don't know how I feel if it can win Best Picture, but it's Martin Scorsese. You can never leave him out of the conversation. That's just how it is here, right? Coming in number 2 might be a surprise to everybody. My last month predicted winner, but now my second place here is Oppenheimer. It's a film that I feel like we're looking at a race where it's going to, I think we're going to split, right? Which means, of course, my number 1 is Barbie. I really feel like we're going to have a Barbenheimer split across the board here. We got a Best Director winner with Christopher Nolan, which I think you can lock that in and throw away the key. However, for Best Picture, I'm really, really leaning towards the idea that Barbie can win. It's a film that every time I've seen it, I saw it last month on the Warner Brothers lot with a lot of voting body members there, and it played very, very well. Surprisingly, amount of people that I saw raise their hand when they said it was their first time watching the film. I was kind of surprised by it. I was kind of taken aback. I mean, you would think the box office has been massive. You would see it. A lot of people have seen it. There's still some people that haven't, but it plays very well. Again, we're talking multiple song nominees. We're talking screenplay. We're talking best supporting actor, best actor, best actress. Could we see a supporting actress nomination? It's possible. Screenplay, production design, costume designs in the conversation. The list goes on and on and on and on about how many nominations Barbie's going to have. But right now, I am going to go out on a small limb here, not that big of a limb, and I'm going to predict that Barbie is going to win Best Picture. That's my pick as of right now. I will have another update here in a few weeks, and then I'll have my final update before the nominations, before they come out on January 23rd. That being said, folks, let me hear your thoughts in the comments about my 10. That is The Color Purple. Coming in at number 10, The Zone of Interest. Number 9, number 8, Maestro. Number 7, Past Lives. The Holdovers at number 6. American Fiction 5. Poor Things 4. Killers of the Flower Moon 3. 2, Oppenheimer. And number 1, Barbie. On the outside looking in, a few films that I think that we could look at potentially seeing into that 8 to the 9 or 10 slot. Anatomy of a Fall. We can see that's really playing very, very well. And Sanji Hooler nomination would go a long way. Maybe a screenplay nomination. Justine Truitt is in the conversation for Best Director. And then, of course, May, December. What does that look like? Does that get a screenplay? Does that get Charles Melton? Does that get a Best Picture nomination? Then, of course, Saltburn's a film. It's a wild card. It really is a wild card. It's like a love or hate type of film with a lot of different individuals. A film that I don't think could end up on the 10, but you have to at least consider some of these films and consider what we're looking at across the board. So for me, that's my 10. Those are my 3 on the outside looking in right now. Tell me your thoughts in the comments. And until next time, we'll talk to you guys later.